Welcome to Math with Mrs. Cox. We're on page 341, Chapter 5, Lesson 7, Addition Properties. Please make sure that you've watched the short video about addition properties before you start this lesson. Thank you. Let's begin. Example 1. Elijah recorded the number of different movies he watched last month. Use the properties of addition to mentally find the total number of movies. Find 5 plus 27 plus 15. Let me get my markup pen going on here. You can easily add 5 and 15 together. So change the order and group the numbers together. That is what we're going to talk about in the commutative property. The commutative property is a really good way to remember it is your parents when they go to work. Here's their house. And they go to work, they commute there, and they go to work. And then when they're done, they get back into their car and they commute back home. So the order changes because they're going to work one way and they're coming back the other way, but it's still the same pathway and it's still the same amount of time both ways. So no matter which way you go, you're still going to spend the same amount of time in the car. And the commutative property is the same, that the order in which you add does not change the sum. Now the associative property, it changes the way in which orders are grouped, but does not change the sum. So usually a tip with the associative property is generally, not always, it will have parentheses. So we're going to dive into this. And they have 5 plus 27 plus 15. We could also flip it around and say, well, we're going to do 27 first, and then 5 and 15. And we're going to group 5 and 15 together. I know this is the long way of doing it. This is the way this math book likes it, and it's okay. So we can group 5 and 15 together and know that that equals 20. 27 plus 20, we can do that in our head. 47. So Elijah watched a total of 47 movies. Wow, he must have had a lot of time on his hands. Also, over here to the right, the associative property, you can add 20 and 47. Alrighty, next page. Example 2. The identity property. Ooh, from watching that video, you saw that anything plus 0, well, is still the same number. So 0 means they don't lose your identity. So for example, in our day and age, your identity is super important. You don't want anybody to get a hold of your credit cards and steal your identity. And so you want to make sure that you keep your identity safe. So anything plus 0 still keeps your identity safe, and it's going to be the same answer. Let's begin. Right here, we have 1.8 plus 2.6 plus 0. Well, we're going to go ahead and add 1 right here. We've got the 1 from this little section right here. And the 0.8 came from that section right there. It's kind of like we split it up into something easier for us to mentally plus. And then over here, we're going to split this number up and put the 2 right here. And then what we have left would be 0.6. So that 0.6 is going to end up right here. We divided that up just a little bit, so now we can go ahead and write the right numbers. We can say 1 plus 2 plus 0.8 plus 0.6 plus 0. And then we can say 1 plus 2 right here, because we haven't done that one just yet, plus 0.8 plus 0.6 plus 0. And that would equal, when we add 1 plus 2 together, it'll equal 3. And then when we add these numbers together, 0.8 and 0.0, we get 14. And remember, there's a placeholder there. Bring that down. We have 1.4. So then we can now add 3 plus 1.4, and that's going to equal 4.4. And 4.4 plus 0, right here's where the identity property comes in, is, well, just 4.4. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. This one had all of this properties. Had the commutative, the associative, and the identity. Number 1, use properties of addition to find each sum mentally. Show your steps and identify the properties you used. Here they helped and they wrote commutative property. So now they want us just to rearrange the numbers. So let's look right through here at what number do you see that is missing on the other side of the equation? That's right, good job. Now, what number, now they want us to do it in an associative property. And what numbers are easiest to add mentally? You're right, 9 and 1 are easiest to add mentally, so let's put those in the parentheses. And 9 plus 1 is 10. Then we can easily add 27 plus 10 to equal 37. I know this is kind of confusing. Just do one step at a time and try not to rush, and you'll do just fine. All right, number 2. Now they did not write the properties we're supposed to use. We kind of need to look and be a detective and see what they used. Okay, now right here we have 69 plus 22. And I see some parentheses, but it's not the associative property that they did first. What they did is they broke up 69 into a 10 and a 9. And then they broke up 22 into a 20 and a 2. And so that is a commutative. One of these days I'll say it right. Commutative. Oh, that's going to be my death sentence. All right, next one. We have 60 plus 40 plus 9 plus 2, which they just changed the order of the addition to add all the big numbers first. They changed it from big to little. So when you change the order, it's associative. Now, did you notice that there's no parentheses around this one? And that's okay. Most of the time, associative has parentheses, but this time they didn't. Then they just added them together. 60 plus 20 is 80, and 9 plus 2 is 11. Add them together is 91. Okay, number 3. Follow along. We have this big, crazy long number. Now, we have 11 plus 7.7 plus 4.3 plus 0. So what they did is they put a parentheses because they wanted the decimal parts to be friends first. We needed to add that together. Now, when you associate certain numbers together like that, it's called, that's right, the associative. Now, look what they threw in right here in this next one. They took the ones without, they have 11 from here, and this number equals 12. Then they brought the 0 over. So they have that 0 in there, and when we throw that 0 in there, we know it doesn't lose its identity, right? Very good. Okay, I'm going to name the properties on this one. Let's look very carefully at what we have. Let's look. There's a 37 and a 26 and a 53. 37, 37, 26, 26, and 53, 53. So it looks like they just changed the order, but they still have the same symbols and the same numbers. So the same commute up to work and the same commute back is commutative. And then for this next step, it looks like they associated some numbers that are easy to add together, because you can see really easily that 7 and 3 will equal 10, and then add them together will be the 90. So the associative is the property there. Associative. And then they added and got the answer. Woof! Crazy. Now they want us to do one on our own. Okay, hang with me, guys. You can do it. Just make sure you write little so there's room for everything, okay? So we have this number. We have 10.9 plus 3 plus 0.1, 1/10. Now, the commutative property, well, let's put that down first. We can just change the order. Let's do it from, let's do like the whole number first. Whoops. The whole number first. Then we'll do all of the decimals because we want to add the decimals together. We want them to kind of associate together. But first, we got to get them in the right order. So that's our first one, and we're going to say that's a commutative. Next line, we're going to just draw a little equal sign right there. Then we're going to show another property where we're going to write the same numbers down. And then we're going to put a parenthesis around these ones. We're going to say that's the associative. Okay. Now, we need to mentally add in our head. Or if it helps, you can do the work over here. So 10.9 plus 0.1. Make sure to line up your decimals. 9 plus 1 is 10. Carry the 1. Drop the 0. 1 plus 0 is 1. Bring the other one down is 11. Now, I can do the plus sign. So I have 3 that's left over. And these two numbers together equal 11. And I'm just going to put it like that. I'm not going to put the decimal or the placeholder 0 because I don't need to. And then I know mentally that 3 plus 11 is 14. And there's my answer. And I labeled all the properties I used. Markup. Love that option. It's great. Number 6. Casey spent $2.50 on a snack, $1.24 on gum, $3.76 on a comic book, and $5.50 on lunch. That's a cheap lunch. Use mental math to find the total amount that he spent. So they kind of want you to associate things that are easy to associate together. So in my head, 50s are really easy to associate together. So I'm going to add the 250 and the 550. Because I know, to me, these are easy to add in my head first. I'm going to add 0. 5 plus 5 is 10. Drop down the decimal. 1, 2, 3 plus 5 is 8. So that right there is just $8. Okay. Now I've got this number and this number I need to add in my head. And I can stack them maybe over here. I know they say they want you to add in your head, but it's okay if you write them down. Especially if you want to make sure you get a good answer. 6 plus 4 is 10. 7 plus 1 is 8, 9, 10. We've got to carry them over and then bring the decimal down. Dot, 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 splat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, well, look at that. So I have $8, dollar sign. That was a silly dollar sign. Let me try that again. $8 plus $5 equals a grand number of $13. Okay, number 7. In 1 week, a classroom collected 43, 58, 62, 57, and 42 cans. Find the total number of cans the class collected using mental math. Explain how you found the sum. Okay, all right, let's write some of these down. I'm going to do 43 plus 57. Then I'm going to put those together because I know in my head that 57 and 43 are going to make a really nice number. Then I'm going to plus 58 plus 42. Then I'm going to have 62 over here, and we'll get to 62 in just a minute. So in my Mental math, I'm going to write down 43 and 57. Now, some of you may be able to see this answer mentally, and that's great. That means you're very comfortable with numbers. For the rest of you, it's all right to write it down to make sure you don't get your numbers wrong. So 7 plus 3 is 10. 5 plus 4 is 9, plus another one is 10. So this number right here is 100. And then we're going to have 58. I'm going to do my work over here on the side. And 42. And you can probably look at that and figure out what the number is, but it's okay to do the work too. 8 plus 2 is 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these two numbers equal 100 as well. Then we have 62. And I bet you can look at that and go, 100 plus 100 is 200. Plus 62 equals 262. And we had cans. So then go ahead and circle that one so I know that that's your answer. Number 8, the table shows the cost of a cheerleading uniform. Explain how you use the properties of addition to find the total cost of the uniform mentally, and then solve. Alrighty, so over here, cost of the uniform. You can, let's see, what's a good number that would make 100, it looks like. I bet if we added this number and this number, we might be close to 100. But let's just check just to make sure. 6, 7, 8, 9. Oop, yep, that's 100. So we can do that as 100, and then we can just easily add this 18. Mental math right there. So I'm going to say all right, so you compare the shoes and the clothes together to get $100, then add the 18 to get $118. Number 9, write a real-world problem that can be solved using the associative property of addition. Solve the problem. Write a number model to show how you found the sum. Hi, let's finish number 9. They wanted us to come up with a problem. I spent $7.75 on a book and $3.25 on a snack. Then I bought lunch for $15.45 and a toy for $13.55. How much money did I spend in all? We are going to show the associative property by grouping the $7 and the $3 price together, and that's going to equal an $11 price. Then the $15 price and the $13 price can be grouped together to equal 29, and the 29 plus 11 will equal the 40. Number 10, the answer you need to write down there is that properties allow numbers that are easy to add to be grouped together. Using the associative property, I can group compatible numbers together and solve mentally. Then I just drew an arrow up to show the example in the previous problem. All right, friends, let's join me on the homework.